My highlight was the Cooking Matters class because it felt like really great to know, like to harvest the food from the garden and then cook it 20 minutes later, and after washing it, of course. But normally you don't know where your food comes from. Like, you think about it, at McDonald's, it's like, where do you get this hamburger? Like, is it from China? Is it from Iowa? You don't know, but you can say, this came from my garden at the Indian Center, right here. And you know there's no GMOs or pesticides, and it's organic, and it was delicious.
I think my highlight would have to be probably working with the kids. Before I got into this youth program, like when I was around little kids that age, I would feel very uncomfortable. Like I didn't know how to take care of them. Like that was a responsibility that I knew I didn't want. But after, like, I realized that what Daryl, my mom, and Shannon are doing, they're teaching the youth, they're helping the youth grow a voice, or have a voice, and like they're teaching us that like we can go on and do bigger and better things. They're helping us. And like Daryl said, I'm a senior, I'm gonna be going off to college soon, so like that's really kind of what I want to do. Is when I go off and get an education, I want to come back and help, and that starts with the youth. I thought that was a really great experience to work with them.
I think my best experience this whole summer is working with the kids and giving them a sense of responsibility and belonging. When I first moved here, I started going to the Indian Center, and it gave me personally, a sense of belonging that even though I might not know anybody at school, I can come to the Indian Center and everything that's going on at school or at home, I can just leave it at school and at home, and it's a totally different environment. And I wanted to give, I think we all gave the kids that sort of responsibility and that belonging, the garden and everything.
My highlight is also working with the kids and being in the program, because the program, it helped me, like coming to this, helped me give my voice, speak up for the community and my society, and also working with the youth and them inspiring us to do a lot of things, like keeping them active and healthy, and teach them to talk to the seeds like we are teaching you guys.
I'd say my highlight would be planting the seeds, because it was something that our ancestors did, and it'd be a cool thing to do because they wouldn't be at home playing video games or texting, or because they didn't have those things. And it feels like my generation is like we just losing their culture and not being connected, but so I'm being connected at a young age, and I like to say that.
They all bring up great points, they bring up great things, and Star, for Star to be so young and bring up her ancestors and being able to look back and look at her family history, to seeing that, when we look at pictures, our people they didn't have health disparities, they were lean, they were toned, they were built. Back in the day, they had we struggle with diabetes, we struggle with all, they were lean. And so to be able to see those pictures around the Indian Center in Diefrag, and when we went to a conference in Portland, it really hit home. Where it was like, wow, when we were colonized, we were given all this stuff to make us have diabetes, to make us be obese, to make us, feel unhealthy. And so going back starting from the smallest generation to Mr. Anunu Francis here, to Star, to our senior, I really think our future looks bright, and it really looks very healthy. And this is just the Denver kids right here. This is just the first cohort of these kids to come up. So we're training them, and not training them, but they're mentoring. They're giving back to their community. And so Thank you, youth, for all your stories and for presenting today. Anybody in the crowd have any questions, comments at this time?
Yeah, I would just like to ask the concept of knowledge of 7 generations. What does that mean to you? Did you find you were having a connection? Did you feel a connection or an excitement or a perception of what people 7 generations ago had been doing? And did you have an experience like that?
Okay, I'm just making sure. Well, we all have like a genetic memory. Okay, got this. Genetic memory, and like we can like if you go and you just stick your hands in the dirt, it'll feel familiar, and that's what you're feeling from 7 generations ago. And 7 generations ago, people like our people were thinking of us. Like they sacrificed their lives just so that we could be here today, and they saved their seeds. Like they made sure that we would have a good life today, and we need to be thinking of our future generations as well.
I just want to say that you guys did an excellent job. Good job. Very good. And I think I personally have not only been inspired, but I think you should definitely keep doing what you're doing because so many people need to learn what you have to teach. Thank you for using your voices and taking your courage and coming up here and sharing this because this is what has been lost. And it's not just, your tribes, it's all tribes. It's time for people to start hearing our ancestors and respecting our elders and revering our seeds. And to hear it coming from the youth there's tremendous hope for me in listening to you. So good job.
Do you have any other programs like 7 Generations or youth programs?
So we are, we're the Denver Indian Family Resource Center that was funded through funding sources. So we collaborated with the Denver Indian Center on their property to host this program. And so really what they're doing is building this program to an urban setting and an urban community of what peer mentoring is and connecting that with Indigenous gardening and youth sports. And so as far as I know, in the urban area in Denver, with their culture Indigenous ways, that's what I know. Do you have any?
Are you talking
Yeah,
about
there's
older?
a website called youthpassageways.org. And it's a website for a network, a global network of rites of passage. And so it's there to be a clearinghouse where you can find different youth programs.
And I also collaborate with different farms too. So if you want youth connecting youth, we're on Facebook, or I'm on Facebook, and so I can put you in connection with other youth. I know Earth Guardians they're going to be building a community center here in Boulder, so they have a huge connection of resources and contacts that you can utilize too.
I'm going to be studying Earth Guardian in Colorado Springs, so I want to know like different outlets for
Good.
You said in Colorado Springs? Cool, awesome. You guys know how many tribes are in Colorado? Lots? Or that's actually in Colorado. Do any of you know?
That have reservation?
That have reservations in Colorado? Anybody? So there are how many reservations?
2.
But how many before those 2 reservations that were pushed out? 25. There were 25 tribes located in Colorado that were forced out. Of the 23 that were forced out, 2 still remain in Colorado, and that is the Southern Ute Indian tribe and the Ute Mountain Ute. And so we do a lot of trying to collaborate with them and seeing how we can preserve seeds and coordinate with them. So down in the Springs, Pueblo area, there's tribes down there that can connect, and then there's Shannon Francis and these 2 organizations. And so we have one more question. Anyone? One more question, and you had your hand up.
What is seed tape?
What is what?
Seed tape.
Seed tape is like, we took paper towels and then we glued we spaced them apart, and then we would glue the seeds to them, and then when you plant that, like the paper towel decomposes, but then the seeds are still there, and so it's just like an efficient way to plant them, and so when you water them, they would just grow, and the paper towels would also help fertilize a little bit, because when they decompose, they'd be like compost.
What kind of glue do you use? It's just like a non-toxic, just Elmer's glue, just a all-purpose glue. And when we were working with the younger campers, so they had a hard time trying to space, so it kind of taught them measuring out the space. They would look at the seed packet and read spacing the seeds, so it kind of gave them a visual of how to space when they're planting and working with them. Some of them were really, really tiny, from lettuce all the way up to beans. A good variety.
Yep, so how many of you remember we're going to give you seeds? Alright, so we're going to go into that last activity of you taking home something that we've learned that we're going to share with you.
And if you brought seeds after this exercise, feel free, because we have some heirloom sunflower seeds and some Niagara, some like black purple hollyhock seeds that we're going to share if you want to exchange your seeds too.
Here you go. Here you go. Some cup. Use some. Huh?
So who's giving out the cotton balls?
If you guys see any corn laying around, we have those back too, because we don't want to lose those or drop them. Yeah, they're like family.
And those are Swiss chard.
Did you get one? Did you pass this out? Here's
Thank you.
Does everybody have a bag? Everyone has seeds and cotton balls? Right, does everyone have seeds?
You should only have one seed.
One seed.
One of everything. One seed, one cotton ball.
So everybody has one? No cotton balls then?
White cotton
Now do you guys have cotton balls? Alright, so the activity that we're doing is...
Okay, so we're going to be making living lockets with our seeds. So, like to start off, you want to make sure everything's good. Like, if your cotton ball is soaking wet, you might want to wring it out a little bit. because it's not supposed to be soaking wet. So to start off, you take your cotton ball, as shown, and your seed, as shown, and then you kind of wrap it up in the little cotton ball, but you leave a little space for it to get light. So, give everybody a second.
Can you say that part again? I was listening. Sorry.
Okay, so you take the cotton ball and the seed, and then you put it in the cotton ball, but not, and you kind of wrap the cotton ball around it, but like it's like a little blanket, like, so it should be like you can see it, like, just so that light can get in there, so it's not completely covered. Yeah. And so, is everybody good with that? Okay.
And then you want to put your cotton balls in the bag.
Corner. Yeah, the corner. And then you want to make sure you say really nice things to your seed. Like, okay, everyone's like, so once you're done with that, unless you're still talking, you want to make sure that there's a little bit of air inside your bag, like open it a little bit, and then you're going to want to close it, and then you want to twist it, and then you want to fold it over so that you can see it, but it's not too bulky. And then just your arms are going. So it should look like this after you twist the bag and then fold it. And if your seed falls out, I guess that's okay. You just want to put it like right near the cotton ball so that it gets the wetness of, or like the water, so that it's able to absorb it and wake up.
Can you tie it?
Okay, and then after, you should have like this little fold right here where you folded the bag.
And then you want to get your yarn and you want to tie it.
At like, yes, at the very middle, like you want to have your yarn separated so it's like, no, so it's like almost exact, so it's like in the middle, like this, and then you could tie it. You want to make sure it's not going to like fall off, but that you can get it off later. And so you got a little thing. And then if you want, you could tie it around, like make it so that your head could fit through. Hope nobody has too big of a head. Like, put it, you could measure it out, like just so where you can get your head through. And then you could tie it right there. And then
How do you keep the seeds warm?
and wait, okay, and so when you do this, you want to be able to put it around your neck, and if you want to, put it in your shirt. I'm not going to do this. Yeah, put it in your shirt. I would, but it's kind of weird. This makes it so it provides like a little incubator almost for your seed, and it gives it the warmth that it needs to like spring up. And it also helps with germination of the seed, and then helps it grow. And then in about 2 weeks, if you just keep it here, like it's not too weird, but if you tell your like if you go to work with it on, you could say to your coworkers, "This is my seed, and it's my baby." Like, and you could say it's growing right now, and in 2 weeks it'll be like, if it starts sprouting, that means you did like a really good job. Like just making sure that it's nice and warm and it's got like the proper everything that it needs. Yeah, proper everything. Anything you'd like to say? And then when it sprouts, you could take the bag and you could rip it if you want to, or you could undo the yarn, which might be a little hard, but you could take the thing out and then you could leave the cotton ball on, right? Oh yeah, you have to take the cotton ball off, which might be a little harder with the sprout, but then once you put it in in the soil, then it'll be able to start sprouting and then it'll be able to live on its own. And just water it and take care of it, and don't just take it off when you get home and leave it on the shelf, because it's almost a waste, and it's sort of like, this is your baby. Like, would you take care of a child like that? Like, think about it. What one is it?
My hair's too big.
What plant was it you said? What kind of seed or plant is it?
Swiss chard.
Yeah, there's Swiss chard. There's Swiss chard, and I didn't get a look at the back. There's Swiss chard and Swiss chard.
So if you want to grow it indoor in your window, like in a south window or whatever, you can, or you can put it outside. Swiss chard will probably be able to grow in this weather for a couple of months. If you mulch it with leaves, it'll have a better chance of growing through the winter.
So now you get to take home some wisdom, some knowledge that you've learned in this past hour and a half from our younger generation. And the contact information is up here. Our Shannon Francis is our gardener, Indigenous gardener in the region. You can also like us on Facebook at those two organizations. And then we also want to share that these young leaders right here will be putting something together for November. November is National American Indian Heritage Month. And so next Saturday, they will be putting together an event where they'll be harvesting stuff from the garden and cooking it, coming up with traditional meals throughout our indigenous cultures. And so the address is located at 4407 Morrison Road, and that's also where you'll see our garden. You get to see our place of where we've done all this, and you'll get to see the pictures of the place. And so go ahead and pass these around. And again, thank you for coming, and we know that, and it has been told to me that if you want impact and you want to hear true stuff and you want to know what's working, invite youth to the tables. Invite them, because they're the ones that are blunt, they're the ones that speak the truth, and they're the ones that are experiencing what you guys are making decisions for. So thank you again, and let's give the youth a round of applause.